Hey man, I'm so sorry to call you so early. I know it's 11:30 a.m. I'm so stressed out about this conference coming up that we have. I just want to see, do you want to go for a drive and just talk? I just love to get some advice.
Dude, what's up?
Oh, dude, thank you so much. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Dude, thanks.
Dude, you know not to call me before 1 p.m.
I know, dude. I'm so sorry. I know, I'm just so stressed out about this conference.
Why are you stressed out? Why do we have to meet in a car also?
Well, I don't know. When I'm stressed, I just need to drive around and just kind of like get into it.
Don't you think conferences are sort of like 1980s? Like, I mean, I know that's your generation, but like, don't you think that like
70s? Actually.
70s, sorry. But don't you think that like why not just do a webinar or something?
It just doesn't seem as fun. CSM people, they like to get together. That's why we throw this event, right? And so we'll have like, I don't know, like 4,000 people there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, are you trying to compete with my conference?
No, no, come on, nothing can compete with Boxworks. Is pretty awesome,
perfect.
right?
But that would be harder to negotiate. But
no,
okay.
I mean, and by the way, everyone's just going to be using Box the entire time.
Good.
Should we listen to some music? What do you think?
I have no problem with you listening to music right now.
Okay, all right. Well, I picked out some songs, so it'll be fun.
But, oh, cool. ABBA?
Hey, have you heard ABBA?
I'm a fan.
All right. I mean, I'm totally not into it, but like, we'll just like listen along, maybe.
I'm fine.
Is that fine? You can check your
If you could turn it down, though, maybe. I don't like ABBA this loud.
You can tweet a little bit if you want. Like, you can dance.
Why are you singing?
I saw you had some thoughts on Kanye. Like, 'cause
Yes.
I think we're thinking of inviting him to speak.
Good.
I
think you should totally
How do
have
you
him do
get
it.
to
That will actually cover your whole conference. He usually does 6 to 8 hour tirades.
What do you think I should do? Just be like, hey, dude, can you speak at Pulse? Do you think he knows what it is?
Yeah. No, I've actually heard him talk about it.
Dancing Queen, feel the beat from the tambourine.
This is actually, I think, one of the best trends for you guys is the world is moving. Every industry, every business is becoming a software-oriented business.
Yep.
So whether you're in retail, whether you're in hospitality, whether you're in transportation, whether you're in life sciences, whether you're in rap music, everything is going to have software at the center of it.
Yeah.
And that's going to transform how all of these businesses and industries work.
Yeah.
And it's going to rewrite the future of the economy. So we're deep believers in the future of customer success because of how much the world is changing, where you're going to have that integrated relationship with your customer at all times.
That is awesome. That's really inspiring. I should work in that area.
You should.
That actually, it sounds.
I would totally start a company in that area right now.
Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say I don't care about the
Good luck at your conference. I'm telling you, webinars, man.
Webinars. All right, we're gonna watch a webinar together
good.
live.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Having the time of my life. See that girl, watch that scene, digging the dancing queen. I want it that
All right, my friend.
way.
How you doing? Elbow bump. How you doing? How's it? Welcome, Aaron.
Where do you want me?
Have a seat right
Okay,
there.
All right.
All right.
Hello. Oh, wow.
Wow.
Oh,
you
my
have
God.
a fan club.
I think those are just boxers, but thank you.
I don't
for being
know.
here.
You
This
never
is
know.
Great news. I have noted.
I heard you're famous on the internet
Wait
with
a
that
second.
video.
If you're here, then who's working with our customers? What's happening? Okay,
All
fine.
your customers are here, actually.
Okay, fine, fair. All right.
Yeah.
So the industry is just on pause right now.
Yes, exactly.
Has anybody ever thought about that? Like, what kind of impact are we having on the global customer success industry right now?
Yeah.
Like, what is like the negative GDP
Yes.
because of this event?
We will investigate that later in the discussion.
All right.
So we have a lot planned today.
I think
so welcome back to Pulse.
Thank you. What are you dressed up as?
I am dressed.
You need like a top hat and a monocle.
Nick made my patent pending look. So you're
Okay.
just jealous of my light-up shoes. I know that. I know that.
LA Tech.
Yeah.
Those were my favorite brand
Yeah.
when I was 9 years old. So. That was great.
Welcome back. So you were at Pulse 2013.
Yeah, you guys are bigger now. This is a good event.
I think we had 300 people there if we stretched.
I think if you rounded up to like everybody, like who also like all the vendors of the event. And
yeah,
like,
and their families.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
It was a good event.
What do you think? Customer success back then versus now? It's come a long way, huh?
It's a big deal. This seems like this whole industry has actually worked out. So good call.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. All right, let's go back in time, back to Box in the beginning.
Also, I want to commend you on your songwriting. Does everybody know that you write the songs?
I don't know if they all know that.
Oh wow! I just heard that backstage. It could have been a lie, but
I wrote Ice Ice Baby. No, just kidding. I rewrite songs.
Can you play them as well?
No, just write.
Okay, you just write.
Exactly.
Okay, you don't do guitar.
I can only take other people's work and make it worse.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you can get sued for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, got it.
Right.
So what's up?
So let's talk about customer success in Box. Let's go back to the beginning. So when Box got started, which was what year again? 1855?
Pretty much.
Something like that, right?
We're like the oldest company on the internet.
Yeah,
we were started in 2005.
Whoa, did they have internet back then?
It was a very slow internet.
Yeah.
We started Box in college. And the idea was we wanted to make it really easy to be able to share files. And very simple idea that turned out that enterprises were just spending way too much money and time and effort and engineering and expense on. And so we attacked that problem with hopefully a much simpler solution back in 2005.
And back then, when you thought about your customers, tell me about how you learned about customers, what you thought of them, how you worked with them back in 2005.
Yes. Well, so I was head of customer success in 2005, and what we would do is this was a real multi-channel customer success operation. You could actually call me in the middle of my accounting class, and I would get phone calls on my BlackBerry from during accounting class from people that were saying, "Hey, you charged me $2.99 more than you should have," and so I had to go deal with that, or like my file didn't upload fast enough, and so I had to go deal with that. And we actually got to a point, in fact, it's kind of maybe interesting, probably one of the biggest reasons why we decided to drop out of college was we were spending so much time on just working with customers that like it was inundating us, mostly just because we just had a lot of bugs in our software at the time. So we really should have just focused on the software side. But we got so inundated with customer demand and people interested in the product and the technology and calling us that we decided we had to drop out of college and decided to do this full time. And in that couple first year journey, couple early years, was when we spent a lot of time deeply working with customers, and we would be doing most of our customer development just on daily phone calls it would be like a realtor and somebody in a marketing agency, and just understanding what they were doing with the product, where they wanted it to go, what functionality they were looking for. And what we decided is to sort of pivot the company from being initially focused on sort of consumer use cases to ultimately just focused on enterprises. And that was about a year and a half, 2 years into starting Box, and so about 2007.
And you had a long enterprise software history before that, right?
Very deep.
Yeah, exactly. How did you know how to do enterprise software stuff and support and customer success? And
yeah, some people are just born with great just Oracle DNA, and they just like deeply understand enterprise software businesses. No, so didn't know anything about the space. In fact, I remember talking to you very early on, many years ago. Was that 2009?
Something like that, yeah.
2009. And you were like the most enterprising person I'd ever met in my life at the time. And
was it just the pocket square? Was that the main?
Yeah, it was. It was definitely the fact that you wore silks was that kind of gave you away as being very enterprising. Initially we knew nothing, and actually I think that was a pretty significant advantage to our strategy, where when we were building out the product and then eventually really turning it into a real company, we kind of thought to ourselves, when we were about, maybe the founding team was, I think at the time, about 22 and 21 years old. It was the four of us, and we had maybe 15 employees or so before we pivoted. And we said, we know we can't make it as a consumer company because Google and Apple and Microsoft and Facebook, they're going to give away free storage for everybody, and everybody's going to have free storage, and that was going to be very, very hard to compete in the consumer space. But what we thought was, in the enterprise, we'd be able to really differentiate our product enough with, by building out enough enterprise capabilities, and we'd be a much more efficient and easier to use platform. Hopefully no one in this audience has ever had to use a product called Microsoft Sharepoint. We thought maybe we'd just be an easier, Microsoft's not a sponsor of this conference, are they?
I think they're here. So
oh, great. Hello, Microsoft. We love you.
Yeah.
We love you. Yes!
Exactly, yeah.
Not the Sharepoint team, right? Okay, good. All right, anyway, we love Microsoft.
Yeah.
We actually do love Microsoft.
I think everyone's here, by the way, so don't make any.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
shit.
exactly. Yeah.
So the Oracle joke didn't go well
Yeah.
then. Okay, all right. Is there an industry that's not here? Oil and gas? Can I make oil and gas jokes?
Exxon is
fuck.
in the house. Yeah.
All right. All right.
Yeah. No, but
no, there are no industries not here that I can use as an example.
what do we? I don't know.
What are you smallest in?
Funeral homes.
Funeral homes.
Funeral
Okay.
homes. I think we're probably good there.
So
there's no
okay.
customer retention there, unfortunately.
Okay.
Do you? That's the go-to customer success joke.
That
Come
is
on,
the go-to
people.
joke. I was actually going to say funeral homes are kind of like legacy enterprise software companies. So
Right.
either way.
Yeah.
But
back in that day, it's kind of we were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
You guys started defining your values, and you
Right.
kind of had some of this stuff built in from day one. Talk about that.
Right. Before I had migrated the conversation, I was going to address that. So we said to ourselves, why don't we instinctively just want to go build an enterprise software company? We know that's where the value proposition is. We know that's where the potential is. And we said, well, if you think about how, put yourself in 2005 shoes for a second, and 2006, and you say, what do people think of when they think of enterprise software? They think it's slow, it's complex, it's way too expensive. In the very song, you get vendors that sell you something that don't sort of live up to their promises. You bear all of the risk as a company buying the technology, right? The on-premises and perpetual license model essentially meant that I sell you software. It's up to you to install it and run it and make sure you're successful with it.
Sounds really bad.
Really bad. It actually doesn't follow almost any other industry other than like the airline industry in terms of like how broken it is, if you think about it. And so we said, like, why is this the case? And now, there's a lot of reasons why you probably couldn't have done it that differently back in the 90s and the 2000s. Like, you ultimately had to ship customers the software, which ultimately meant that they had to then run it for themselves and be responsible for its success. So there's a lot of reasons why that happened, but they all ultimately led to the industry having a really bad rap on customer experiences and customer service. And so we said if we're going to build an enterprise software company, we are going to take the ethos of really a consumer company, which means we're going to innovate at the pace of a consumer company. We're going to design software through the lens of really consumer experiences and consumer instincts. We're going to always make sure that we're delivering things that are as simple as possible, even if that sometimes contradicts what the enterprise wants in terms of their IT needs. And then we also finally had a thing where we realized that one of the biggest challenges with why people didn't like their enterprise software and enterprise technology vendors was because the customer relationship was never there. Where the vendor basically sold you some technology and then they moved on to the next customer. And that was just a fundamental flaw with the business model, first and foremost, that SaaS essentially solves. But there's a wide spectrum of how you can do SaaS. You can still do SaaS and deliver really bad customer support. You're just going to either lose the customer or you're going to retain them against their will just because because their product has some amount of entrenchment within the organization. So we said, well, why don't we build a company that we would actually get really excited to have as customers and to be able to work for? And we realized that customer experience and customer success along with that was going to be kind of one of the core pillars. And so as we
back in 2009, you figured this out?
Back in 2007.
In 07.
In 07. Wow. And then as
we all just figured out like
what have you been doing? Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing.
Okay. This was like this morning's keynote.
That was what we were talking about. Yeah, exactly.
It's like this is the future.
Yeah.
So we basically said, what if we could deliver really great customer experiences? What would that mean? And we sort of ratcheted up over time. First of all, it first started out just like, okay, like let's just have really, really great phone support. And then let's have really, really great email support. Let's make sure that we hire people in the customer support team that are truly, truly great to work with when you're a customer, right? They're incredibly enthusiastic. They're incredibly energetic. They want to go out and solve your problem. They get excited about helping you solve your problem. And let's make that available for free for everyone. And so we actually had a fairly uneconomical model, which was like literally if you were a free user paying us nothing, we gave you free unlimited support and phone support. And we didn't ever have any way of upselling you because we didn't really even have a product to sell you to. But like we just said we want to deliver the best support. And then over the years that sort of expanded where now we have have a professional services division, and our mission there is to make sure that you can be wildly successful with our technology, and we want to be able to kind of help you push your limits as a business. But ultimately, it all comes back to that core value from a customer service standpoint. Ultimately, got codified. We have 7 core values, and I think the most important one is that we blow our customers' minds. And that both shows up in the technology that we build, hopefully, and we have a lot of work to do there because the industry is constantly changing, but then also shows up in our people and how we work with our customers. So how do we make sure that every interaction is ultimately going to blow our customers' mind?
When did you hire your first kind of customer success person and actually one of the questions on the Slido, which feel free to put your questions in, when did you hire your first customer success executive?
First customer success executive, probably first started more on the customer support side. And that was
John Herstein here? Or?
That is, John Herstein ultimately came on to run the full customer sort of success operation, but we invested in this maybe 7 or 8 years ago initially, and then we realized that we were not thinking about it as holistically as we should be, where it was really just like we were giving great phone support operations, but not thinking about the end-to-end customer relationship and every sort of touch point, whether that's a phone call, implementation, managing your account, all the consulting, and that's where John Herstein came in, who now obviously leads all of our customer success.
And that was what year did all that happen?
5, 6, 7 years ago.
That's
was
amazing.
Probably when the
Wow.
big investment started to initially kind of emerge.
And when you heard the term customer success, what did you think?
It should be obvious.
Obvious, yeah. So it made sense?
I mean, it was like, how could it have been called anything differently,
Yeah.
right? Like why, like this, it's just so obvious if you just think about from a pure principle standpoint, like our job as vendors or any kind of technology company or any kind of industry is you're building a product. Per our carpool video, I think that everything's going to become a service. I think you agree now based on our carpool interaction.
Yeah, it was after the carpool. That's when I changed my mind.
I created the insight for you.
Exactly. Yeah, that was what convinced me.
Yeah, that was profound. So if you imagine everything is going to be delivered as a service, then customer success is going to be core to every single business on the planet, and it just should be all of our missions to ensure the success of our customers. And at some point, maybe even in 5 years from now, I mean, the word success itself will be sort of redundant or an oxymoron because it'll just be like you won't be in business if you're not ensuring the success for your customers.
Yeah, and you teach, I think you teach at Stanford, right?
I lecture,
you've taught,
I
you've
yell
lectured,
about things.
yeah, dabbled a little bit. Yeah, a little. So you talk about disruption, right?
Yes.
So
we do.
Where is this happening outside of software? What are you seeing?
Yeah, so maybe just, it's hard to interact because of the lights, but maybe just raise your hand if you're not in a business where 5 years ago we would have thought of you as a software company. So maybe it's retail or biotech or energy. And again, it's really hard to tell. So I'm just going to assume 90% of people are raising their hand. But if you think about every single industry today is going to be driven by technology. And so we have this course at Stanford, which is maybe another poll where we won't be able to validate the results. Has anybody read Innovators Dilemma? All right, about
round of applause.
Yeah, all right.
Woo!
All right, about 4 people. Good.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I think we're getting old.
Huge bestseller. So it actually was a bestseller. You should read it. Please, I actually highly recommend it to customer success leaders because your biggest point of disruption is literally your relationship with your client.
Clayton Christensen, right? Yeah, great book.
Good friend of ours. And I think he wears silk ties
okay,
as well. Yeah.
we'd be friends. Yeah.
We would be friends. The idea of Innovators Dilemma is this idea that low-end disruption occurs for companies when there's some new technology innovation or some kind of business model innovation that allows a new company to go and basically disrupt your market with a cheaper, faster, simpler capability. So that was sort of Netflix to Blockbuster, et cetera. And
what happened to Blockbuster?
They I think are in Alaska at this point.
Oh, okay.
I think there was like a news article that there's like 3 Blockbusters in Alaska,
wow.
and like that's all it is. So basically, we're in the technology industry so used to disrupting all of each other. Like probably 80% of this room is trying to disrupt the other 80% or 20%. That would be math. So basically. We're so used to technology-based disruption because like Google disrupts Yahoo and Facebook disrupts MySpace. But what's interesting is what happens when technology companies start to disrupt non-technology companies. The variables of a technology business are fundamentally different than those of a non-technology, sort of more industrial business, right? If you're an industrial business, you think about deploying retail stores, you think about process efficiency, you think about Six Sigma, you think about a whole bunch of different things that in Silicon Valley we don't think about. It's you're much more agile, you're much more collaborative, you have to move 10 times faster because disruption can come from every single angle. So what happens when you have now a retail company? We already know retail because of the whole Amazon versus retail thing, but what happens when you think about biotech or life sciences? What happens when you think about energy companies? What happens when you think about automotive businesses, where all of a sudden companies like Google and Apple and others are coming after their industry, and these companies are they're running and they're operating in fundamentally different ways. So that's sort of what we talk about at the course at Stanford.
And you think customer success is part of that?
I was going to lead us to that. You didn't think I was going to be able to segue it back?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're like, please,
exactly.
pull this into customer success.
Right, exactly.
Please
Just
make that happen.
Just
Give me anything that relates to the success of a customer.
Yeah.
So, one of the biggest things, fundamental, I honestly think it's probably one of the top 2 lessons of the entire course, is that your relationship with your customer fundamentally changes as you move to a digital economy, because you are delivering a service. You're not selling a thing. So when you think about General Electric, anybody from GE here? All right.
Woo!
All right. So when you think about GE, 10 years ago, maybe you sell a jet engine. Today, you're selling energy efficiency. You're selling, how do we reduce the amount of downtime when your airplane is being retooled or dealing with maintenance? That's a service. And so that means fundamentally you're going to start to think and operate the same way that you do, that we do, that Salesforce does. You're going to develop relationships and want to analyze those relationships and look at data and analytics about those relationships and look at data and analytics about how the product is working in the exact same way that a technology company is. So how do these companies that maybe are not in the heart of Silicon Valley start to think about that? How do we learn what this whole world is going to be like? And we think that that there's a lot of work to be done to hopefully help educate all these businesses. But ultimately, I do think that it's going to fundamentally flip the relationship of a customer and a vendor on its head in a way that most traditional industrial businesses are mostly not ready for. I think there's some great standout examples like the GEs of the world that have been transforming in a pretty significant way, but this is not the case for every single business. Can I say one more thought?
Yeah.
Thanks. One of the things that we realized in this process was if you think about the mindset of an industrial business, the mindset, what you got really, really good at, if you think about it, was distribution.
Right.
You got really, really good at building the physical locations, deploying the people, and enabling the partnerships, enabling the logistics. And so we were more in like a distribution-based economy where like whoever had distribution could win regardless of the product or service or experience.
Totally.
When you go to a digital world and customers have more choices, then you're not in a distribution-led economy, you're in a service-led economy. Who are the companies that can give me the best experiences, the best products? And that's something that a lot of industrial businesses are really not used to. Throw even more fuel into the fire. You throw social media into this whole picture, and all of a sudden, the policy that United Airlines had for decades probably now is flipped on its head because that same policy can end up in a really, really bad customer experience, and now the entire world knows about it. So we're dealing with a set of factors that most companies have never had to think about or deal with before, and that's changing customer success, essentially forever.
By the way, that's when United Airlines is not here, I don't think.
Oh, are they? Okay, got it.
So you can pick on them for
I'm imagining they're not using your software yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Well, so tell me about, when you talk to these...
But they probably should be here. If you
they
think
should.
about it.
They should probably be. We're going to call them. Yeah.
Okay.
What for the CEOs that don't adopt this new mindset?
Yeah.
What happens?
Hey, you go out of business.
You really think they're just going to go out of business?
100%.
And like in 20 years?
I mean, it depends on the business. Some businesses stay around far too long because
they're just a monopoly.
Because they have some kind of, maybe you have a patent, maybe you have like a oil well that you just have control over, and so you can stay in business far past your customer's actual interest and excitement for your product. But there's no question that you go out of business if you don't approach customer success from a customer-first mindset, and that has to ripple through your entire business.
So when one of the questions came up in Slido, is good relevant one for the audience. you guys started moving up market. You have big customers, they're demanding. What changed about your customer success and company strategy around customers as you had big enterprises?
I think, you know, I was not as empathetic early on with all of the complexity of what a big customer deals with in their organization, and so I sort of had this really naive perspective of how you could deliver, you know, service at scale. And
had you met a lot of customers in the early days, the enterprises and all that? Or?
You know, what we defined as an enterprise was like you had like 3 coffee shops instead of 1. So like that was like a big enterprise.
And now you've met, I mean, how many CIOs have you met?
I mean, like
Hundreds,
an actual
right?
number?
Yeah, right.
I mean, many CIOs.
Yeah.
You know, probably 1,000 plus.
Wow.
So what you understand by now interacting with so many large businesses, and you know, many of which are represented in this room, is, you know, they are dealing with like 1,000 different problems. Yeah. And so it's really interesting, because when you start to then be more and more empathetic to them and what their day is like and all of the things that they deal with, it changes what you build, how you sell, how you work with them. And we didn't necessarily appreciate that. We had this sort of utopian view, which is you build a great product, you put it on the internet, people will use it, and like that, and then just you repeat. And that's still most of it. And like if you don't do all of that, then you will lose also. But there is a complete sort of relationship component and empathy component to working with big, complex organizations that you have to invest in and get really, really good at if you're going to be able to move up market to large enterprises. And this is actually why you have a lot of companies where they sort of stall out with their enterprise strategy initially, and that they recognize they have to kind of retool things, because to get to that next sort of stage as a business, you have to completely change the way that you're thinking about working with customers.
That's awesome. And I've been so impressed by you guys, because you guys have evolved a lot in that capacity, right? I mean, you weren't an enterprise-oriented company 10 years ago, right? Or 8 years ago. And now you are. Yeah. You have name some of your big customers, some of the big ones?
Sure. I like advertising ourselves.
Yeah.
General Electric.
Right there.
Hey. You know, just companies like Eli Lilly, Procter & Gamble,
Yeah,
AstraZeneca,
awesome.
Disney, bunch of big enterprises.
That's great. Awesome. Well, last topic. So this conference theme is 90s.
Yes.
So I think there's a question on here. If you had to pick a customer success song to describe how you think of as the world of customer success, what 90s song would you pick? And if not,
yes.
What's your go-to 90s band?
So go-to 90s band. I'm a punk rock person, so I don't know the demographic overlap or not with customer success leaders, but
Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, that was. I love Backstreet Boys for sure, but you know, just like people like Blink-182 and hey.
Yeah.
So maybe in that vein, the theme would be the song "Damn It." Is probably best describes customer success.
Oh my gosh!
In a nutshell, not necessarily the lyrics, but the name. Yeah, no, 90s music was a great time.
Awesome. All right. Well, if you come back to, you were at Pulse 5 years ago.
Yes. Okay.
If you're back at Pulse 2022, 5 years from now, what are you expecting?
I mean, I assume that at that point you'll have. What does Benioff have at this stage? There's like live Hawaiian bands or something.
Yes.
So
we'll have those.
I expect that, and you know, you'll like all of SF and Oakland will probably be shut down. Like no, people won't be able to drive anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's my expectation.
All
for you
attendees
guys.
will be robots as well, or no?
I mean, we got to at some point. Maybe it's not by 2022, but by 2030 or so, this should be just done in hologram. So,
all right. We'll work on that.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Thanks,
Good
buddy.
event. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Take care, guys.
Thanks to Aaron. Appreciate it.